Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me?
Testing. Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a few minutes. I'm not even sure who will show up. I know Steve can't make it today because he has obligations.
Okay.
So how was your winter weekend?
Um, I worked like 40 hours in like two days. Got to stay at the hospital for 2 days, and then I got to come home. So
Ah.
yeah. So it was fun. How was yours?
It was somewhat productive, but also I just stayed in. I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
Oh yeah, no. I tried to build a snowman yesterday, but the snow was way too powdery.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing. You have all this snow and you can't build a snowman. What kind of snow is that?
I know. I was gonna put like a fancy hat and a tie on it.
Ah, it stacked pretty high, didn't it?
It did. It was I think we probably had over a foot in the driveway.
Really?
Yeah.
And who had to shovel all that
Well,
out?
definitely not me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know who all will attend because I know Janine is probably busy with something on Tuesdays, and then I know that B has some kind of obligations. So whenever she does appear around this time, I think it's supposed to be. Wait, maybe I spoke too soon. Let's see. Who is? Oh, never mind. That's probably city administrator. But yeah, B has some obligations as well. I know she informed me in advance that within this month and I think last month that she was going to have some arrangements to take care of. So I wasn't sure if she'd be able to call in or not.
Okay.
Um, but actually, since you're here, this will be a good start. I'll go over some things. So I sent that agenda out. And as of right now, so this topic is tourism, volunteer, and finalizing bylaws. They actually are conjoined because they tie directly into each other. Um, so the idea is that so we've had people come in and off at tourism, and lately within the last couple of like months or weeks or so, I'd say months, we haven't had a sustainable group of people show up, right?
Right.
And because of obligations and stuff, but we're kind of at a crossroads in tourism right now. So you have people who are able to show up, and then you have people who are what I would call untapped potential. And as a person would hate to like limit the tourism timeline to always 10 a.m. because if you do that, you might cut out talent, unique talent that's available like in the afternoon that can't attend, right? So you
Right.
definitely talent pool. And I talked to one gentleman and he said he was interested in doing stuff, but it's a little difficult if he's unable to attend because he can't get in. Like, I guess he's working, so he can't, I guess, double dip at the same time. I guess that's what you call it. He can't even listen in with the microphone, just kind of hear us. So, um, I think that tourism in time is going to need, well, obviously, it's going to need a stable committee, but then in time, when people decide that they want to move on or retire, because I think since we don't have bylaws right now, it would be preferable to have those bylaws when they do become codified, where you can only serve so many consecutive terms. That way, it gives everybody a chance to, join the organization. Um, but I think in time, uh, we should figure out like what kind of time is best as far as like to have these meetings, but at the same time figure out who has work schedules because that's kind of difficult right now. Did you by any chance look at the bylaws I sent over?
Yes. Yeah. I read through them. I can't say that I remember much that I read.
Okay, did you see anything that seemed kind of iffy or could be revised?
No, no. I mean, I don't have the knowledge of what bylaws are supposed to look like, honestly.
Okay, so generally, and of course I was new to this too, so I was kind of lost. The idea of these bylaws is to prevent new people from coming in a sense that when they join, they're not confused. It's to prevent any confusion, so it's not a shot in the dark.
Okay.
And from my understanding, when I joined, there was just kind of like hearsay stuff about, oh, well, you can't do this and that, but it's like, but cite that source because otherwise, I'd love to do it. Like I've heard of old laws like, oh, you can't promote this within 50-mile radius. It has to be outside of the town, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, where is this bylaw? And then there's these kind of like strange things like, okay, well, you need at least one representative of the hotel motel industry, right? Well, do they have to be a physical employee or can they just become just merely a representative of that? And then if they
Yeah.
are the representative of the hotel motel industry, uh, how do they represent those interests? And is it unfair or fair to say someone who's not employed there, who's not generating the revenue physically, like what do they have to say that's superior to the actual owner who has a more interested say in the things because they have the actual hotel, right? So
Right.
there's all these like little kind of like, I don't know if ambiguity is the right word, but um, the idea of these bylaws that they at least have to have like, to ensure that quorum is met because we have to have at least three people who are voting members. I believe this tourism commission has to have a total of 5 members, but at least one is non-voting, which would be like the liaison, Councilman Twitchell. Then you traditionally have what is called Robert's Rule of Orders. Those are the things that you see that are implemented at the city council level, like whenever the mayor does roll call and stuff like that, he does a call to
Mhm.
order. He's probably taking from the Robert's Rules of Order, if I remember correctly. Um, but yeah, just some general ideas in here, like taking what Perryville, Missouri had, their bylaws, but also like trying to be a little bit more progressive because um life happens and also
Right.
people just things happen and like I don't know how everybody else will agree on it, but it's like I want to make it to where it's a little bit more like lenient on things because if you get into tourism you're going to get involved with a lot of stuff. And I just want people to be able to build their resumes. But also like how familiar are you with like the town? Just as a new person coming in, like how much experience do you have? Like what like are you in the dark on anything or is there anything you'd like to know? Like
Um, well, I didn't even know that Louisiana existed until I met Woodrow. I'm not too familiar with it. He's pretty up on everything. He would actually be a great source to get information from. I know about like some of like the historic houses and that's really I think about it.
Perfect, perfect. So essentially, though, you were an outsider coming in, right? So he essentially
Right.
recruited you in, and you discovered it slowly. So you've learned those things. But like, is there anything that since you've been on board into tourism that you'd like to see done, or is there something that's kind of off since you joined? I mean, you're just like, if you can, like tear it apart, like give constructive criticism.
Um, golly, you put me on the spot.
Yeah,
You know what I didn't like about the Color Fest thing is that it was on Georgia Street, right? And
yeah.
it was so compacted. Like you were bumping into people like shoulder to shoulder. I feel like stuff like that needs to be in more of an open area. If that's if that's like an option. I don't know if it is or not, but that is something that I noticed.
So
Um,
you're saying that congestion,
huh?
a lot of congestion.
Yes, very, very much so.
Okay. That would definitely be a good question for Brooke Patterson, the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce, because she gets with, I think there's another committee I can't recall, but I think they ultimately are responsible for Colorfest.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned, you were talking about the park location over there. Wait, actually, before we segue into that. Okay, well, since the quorum can't be met anyway, um, I'll just run through these real quick before I jump into Momo Fest because I'm having a feeling that it's not going to take very long a day. So, uh, just take a look at those bylaws if you can, and then can't talk about the digital marketing budget. Really, there's no quorum, but if I am to talk about it, I just wanted to bring up the fact that we need to have some kind of Facebook marketing going on so that way we can start targeting people's phones when they come through, so they'll get an advertisement from tourism, or at least when they drive this area, so that they'll be reminded that Louisiana exists. And
Oh.
then yeah, so basically people when they come into town, there's this thing that can happen. So like there's a marketing tool from Meta. I think it's the Meta Business Suite. And you can set like a circumference of where you want your ads to target. So like if I come in within the geo-fenced location, if I'm 30 miles within the town or something, the advertisement will hit my phone. And if I don't close it out, I think it's like something, what, 30 days where it will stay on my phone unless I decide that I don't want to see the ads anymore. But basically, if people are driving by on say 54 and they're going
Uh-huh.
toward it would hit their phone because they might, Louisiana to them it might just be a recollection of memories and then it'll be forgotten. Well, it hit their phone, they'll say, well, huh, what about this Momo Fest and what about this Color Fest? What's about, what is it about this town, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's like $5, $5 a day for marketing, but again, there's no quorum, so I can't go. I don't. There's no need to go much further than that. But then there is the brochure. So we have brochures, but we also have a giant boxes and boxes full of Third Street, Main Street, and like Musker building flyers that they have to be used up first, and then also like the question of the brochure is, well, if we do these brochures, what all content should go in them? I have worked on the brochure and I put a lot of ideas in there, but um, I still feel like unless you have a lot of good shots of the various events here, there's kind of some questions like, well, if we send this brochure out, how many, like each year, how many different brochure versions are you going to make? And then what brochure stands the test of time, right? So I
Yeah.
haven't really, because that costs money. And so one of the ideas from B was, well, we might as well just go digital on the brochures, but I still think physical copies have value. I wouldn't know how to put that to the test unless we send it to the Visitors Convention Bureau. And so there's various visitors, basically information centers, I think, throughout Missouri, and we would send our brochures to them. And then when visitors come, they would go to those places like rest stops and stuff and see the brochure, I think.
Okay.
Um, the update on email blasts, calls, participation. So B was supposed to get back with me at some point. Uh, basically we were going to try to have an idea where the colleges would participate in kind of like an artistic thing with the town, like a mural kind of thing, or like you paint the storefronts. So there's a lot of empty storefronts in town,
Hmm.
and people definitely take note of that kind of stuff when they come through here, and it kind of makes it look like a ghost town. And so it's like, well, hey, can we recruit unique artists from around Missouri and the Illinois area within a 50-mile, 60-mile vicinity? Would they be willing to come down here? And I guess if we were to sponsor them, would they want to put beautiful art on the buildings or the windows at least to kind of show livelihood? So like we have what's called the 50 miles of art. I'm sure you heard of that. Um, Clarksville's, or not Clarksville, Hannibal, Missouri is very artistic. They have like an entire thing up there. Well, for some reason, within the last couple of years, I know John Stokely was a part of it. He was probably like the most important component of it as far as Louisiana because he was the most notable. But we used to
Hmm.
have this corridor called 50 Miles of Art that we would share between Clarksville, Louisiana and Hannibal. We don't really seem to advertise with that much anymore. We're trying to bring that back. So just give you an update on that. Janine Kelly was in
Okay.
here. Janine Kelly owns a lot of property, I think, on Georgia Street. So she's trying to do something with that, antiques and art, and I think that's important. Um, there's something called the carriage ride that is postponed, I think, until spring. I'm trying to work with this individual. Her name is Rebecca Millen, I think. And I think she had a horse and buggy during the Christmas parade,
Okay.
but I can't remember. And she said it was a little too cold. Uh, I think it's the city administrator again. Um, so there's that. That's been postponed. Um, there's supposed to be okay, so at the riverfront, and if you would like to, actually, if you want to help with this, this would be great.
Mhm.
So there is a billboard, a tourism board at the riverfront. Well, a lot of towns, when you go to the riverfront, they have like a welcome center informational board kind of deal. And they'll have a couple of photographs and they'll have like a map of the city, right?
Mhm.
So I guess like if I'm just thinking of hypotheticals, I guess if you had competitive kayakers come through on the Mississippi, because they do come through here, there's people that do these competitive things. There's all kinds of visitors that come through. Like don't like people shouldn't think that just because just they see barges doesn't mean that there isn't people docking at the marina and stuff. So people do come and visit the riverfront, and we don't have a good enough riverfront display. And I've looked into the displays, but it's really difficult to figure out what kind of display should go there because the question is when people look at this display and this like welcome center thing, does it need to have the aesthetic of, say, other riverfront or like displays that you see like in public parks where they show you a map and say, you are here, right?
Yeah.
Or should it be its own thing? And if you're feeling enthusiastic, you should go take a look at the display and think to yourself, huh, what would visitors like?
Okay.
So that's something that, I guess that could be a task for you if you're interested in taking that.
Sure.
Um, Okay, cool. Just don't forget if you look at it, make sure you measure the dimensions of that thing. And also, I have a key to that. I had to change the lock on it, but there is a key to that. So if you want the key to that to kind of look at it further, I can give that to you. Um, so there's that. And then, so now Momo Fest, fast forward now. Uh, you mentioned some interest in regards to like the that giant empty space. And so,
Yeah.
in your words, why that specific space? I'm interested.
Um, Woodrow is on the Concerned Citizens, and they actually own the space next to the school, and then the city owns a little bit of the space next to the or next to the highway. And I'm pretty sure that we could probably use that space for free. And that would, I mean, it would be, it's a wider space. It's not like the street festival where it's like congested. It's more of an open, it looks more like a festival ground to me.
Okay, and then let's do a hypothetical. What do you think the capacity for people would be there? Like how many people do you think could be stored as far as space wise, like capacity wise?
If we can get the concerned citizens grounds and then the city lets us use their grounds, um, I guess with the vendor, like vendors and all, or just the people?
I guess vendors and all and stuff like that
Mhm.
because I guess and don't take anything that I say as a Debbie Downer and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
uh if people like where I guess where would they park? And if they park
Yeah, you're
somewhere,
right. Yeah, there isn't really any parking there. You're right.
I mean, here's my thing though. I personally, so I do know this for a fact, people who are enthusiastic, who don't care about like where to go, if the thing is exciting enough, they'll park their car wherever the heck they want and they will
Yeah.
walk to that thing. Because I've traveled to concerts and I'm like, you know what, screw it. Like to go see a concert in Kansas City, their parking was bad. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go park it in a random neighborhood. If that car gets towed, I had a good time. So that's something I think there's people if they're really feeling, motivated. I don't think it'd be a bad thing to see the neighborhoods packed. That'd be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there's a logistics concern, like and would there be like porta potties and stuff like that, I guess.
There would have to be, I guess.
As far as like music and stuff, like what would you recommend on vendors? I will throw a suggestion in here. One of the issues with the Spring Fling Festival, I don't know so much about bluegrass because I don't think I was around for that, but the Spring Fling had way too many food vendors, I think,
Okay.
and I think the commerce away. I could be wrong. I believe in good faith that it took away commerce from the local restaurants. And so as
Yeah.
far as like vendors, I guess what kind of vendors will we have at Momo Fest?
Um, there's a couple that I know of. There is the the taco burger guy, since he's local.
Yeah,
And
sure.
then there's another vendor right down the street that I see they're vending their truck. They're local. Um, and then there's a guy named Tommy that makes all kinds of food, and it's absolutely fantastic food. And he is in Hannibal, I believe. So those three,
Okay.
I was kind of, since they're kind of like local.
Hmm. Okay, and then as far as like entertainment, I'm wondering to what extent, like what kind of entertainment we would go after, because I've started to realize when it comes to festivals, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's uh there's people like maybe touring is getting expensive too, and because of cost rising and ticket prices and stuff. But like I noticed that finding people to come up for music can be quite expensive.
Yeah. Have what do you think about just getting like the local music around here from like here and from Hannibal and all the surrounding areas? Because I know that there's a few people that do I think it's called the River something over in Illinois. They bring locals from around there, and I can probably get a list of people from them. And it's people just trying to like get out there and get their music out there.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. They're def because I was so here's my take on this. I don't know why. So like I know there's people that want to get their name out there, which is great. And I think that should be like the trade-off. So like if we have a festival, they get free exposure, people get free entertainment,
Right.
and then people are more inclined to come down because there is entertainment. Because I know one thing that's very popular amongst adults, and that's like alcohol and good music.
Yeah.
And which I guess is another question too on its own as far as alcohol. But I don't know why more musicians don't like create a tip jar and volunteer their time because if they did that, it's immediate publicity and people know who they are. And so whenever they go to their Facebook and they say, "Hey, I'm going to be here, so and so," Illinois, then people are like, oh, I saw that person for free at Momo Fest, right? So it's a
Right.
free publicity. So yeah, there is a lot of unique talent within the area. Now, this Momo Fest idea, there's obviously way more enthusiasm from some of the other members as well because they had some really good input on this. But one of the ideas that started up, and I don't know if it'd be sustainable on that lot or if this is just going off the rails, but um, there was an idea of building like a Momo like effigy, if that's the correct word, or like a statue, and then it would be burned at the very end, kind of like the Burning Man.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, oh man, would it be able to, where would you be able to do that anywhere in town though?
Um, Councilman Twitchell suggested the riverfront because it's the safest or something, which it would
Yeah.
get packed. It would get so packed down there.
Yeah.
But I had a really bad idea. I just did it because of safety, but just because that's where the location was, I thought, well, what better place to have it than would be on Star Hill where the Momo was discovered. And if the
Right.
Momo's on fire, I mean, the fire pit's right there, so the wood's being burned in the appropriate place.
Huh. That's a good idea actually.
But the one of the scary things about this Momo Fest thing though is that since people haven't showed up, I'm starting to wonder if I should call another special meeting to see if people will show up because one of the reoccurring issues with tourism right now is quorum. Like we had issues passing the like a backed up but like a backed up cost. So a lot of stuff like quorum has to pass first before anything can be paid off, right? Because we all have
Right.
to agree on the invoices where it gets sent, and that's about integrity. And so that all had to get agreed upon. Well, that budget wasn't kept rolling over till like December, and finally we met quorum. We were able to pass that and pay all that off. So it took all that old business off. And if let's say that we scheduled this Momo Fest between May and June, well, I think it would be better if somebody started spearheading the project now, or maybe it was more of an independent gesture, like grassroots kind of thing. And
Hmm.
then the tourism and the Chamber of Commerce should be encouraged to help support that grassroots movement. That way, innovation starts now. You don't have to wait on us as a group because it's always a collective, right? And then if it
Right.
started now with enthusiasm, people are like, oh, well, like let's say concerned citizens agrees to do these things and they give you like maybe like a early permission to go do this thing because they trust that your vision will work out. So if a bunch of grassroots people get together and start now, then we wouldn't have to wait on, well, I guess we'll have to wait till February because that's a whole month of progress gone, right?
Right.
Because I'll be honest, over the weekend, I was like, hey, I was actually like a week or two ago, I was talking to somebody from St. Louis who's trying to regenerate the EDM, the house scene, the electronic dance music stuff. They were trying to bring that into the Midwest to make it more popular because we don't have a lot of rave stuff in the Midwest unless you go to the cities. And I said, hey, what if you were to come up here and do some DJing for the city, right? And they said, or not the city per se, I'm not speaking on behalf of the city, but like say if they went to a venue, and they said the only thing they cared about was gas money because they just wanted to be able to play their music. And I thought if every artist thought that way, just primarily focused on the gas money aspect of it, we could have tons of artists here. And Momo
Yeah.
Fest, just being a regular festival, it would be like a full blown like band based thing. And if you have that, you could have like your headliner and then you could make it an actual thing. And if that's the case, that would be huge because you could make it music festival related kind of thing, but also you wouldn't take away too much from Colorfest.
Yeah. Yeah. But what artist is going to want to just get the gas money?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Um,
I, I guess if they're just really wanting to get their music out there, then they would do it.
I guess I don't know. I wish more people were here right now because then we could brainstorm a lot easier. Um,
So I have an entire list of ideas for the Momo Fest. It's on the fridge. I will actually, after this, I will write it down and send it to you. Just like
okay.
there's a guy named Cliff, and I can't remember his last name, and he did the Finding Bigfoot series, and he actually travels around and does like investigations. And I was like, what if we brought him here to the place like where it like all started, and have like some VIP tickets, and then they go camp out on Star Hill to try to investigate. There's like 2 or 3 VIPs that we auction off. We have everybody do like a raffle, and then we pull 2 or 3 tickets, and they can do like an investigation with them.
That's a good idea, actually. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so okay. So you're talking about auctioning stuff off. All right. So what if there is a raffle or a contest for a Bigfoot suit?
Oh yes.
Because I was thinking, so I talked to Brooke the other day, and she was telling me that there's a specific gentleman who has kind of a Momo suit, or I call it a Sasquatch suit because I haven't seen the true Momo suit yet. But he uses that whenever certain little events happen, but he won't let people have it. It's like, well, obviously you're not going to let anybody wear your ghillie suit, you know.
Yeah.
But um, what if somebody dressed up as the Momo mascot? And when I say that, the mascot that most clearly represents like the cartoonish depiction of the Momo that you see for the indie film that was made a couple of years back. Because I here's a funny thing. So I know I guess one of the kids that grew up that saw the monster, and I asked him, and I said, "Hey," I was like, does this look like Momo or not? Because I keep seeing the funny Sasquatch, the Jack Link's beef jerky Sasquatch. I said, but I don't see the actual Momo. He's like, no, it had those eyes, like, okay, so that depiction of the glowing orange eyes or whatever is the actual depiction and not the Sasquatch one. So I guess you could have someone dress up in that outfit. I guess someone could build it and they could go around town, you know getting pictures of people and stuff like that. But I guess at the very end, you could have that thing auctioned off and someone could pay money for it. And I guess you could donate that money to a proceeds or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, that's a good idea.
Well, okay.
Mhm.
So do you just want to like kind of freehand this right now and make it more of like a grassroots thing and talk to Woodrow about it and see what he can come up with and see what
Yeah.
happens, a shot in the dark kind of thing. Because um, one of the problems, and I'll bring this up, I'm not afraid to admit this, is that you have a lot of sovereign ideas you came up with. I want those to blossom and to bear fruit. I don't want a lot of collectivist groups trying to shoot the thing down because of budget issues, right?
Right.
So I guess after this and after I get off work, I'll take time and I'll start looking for artists and stuff like that. Because if Woodrow can get that thing going, that would mean, hey, we have this thing ready to go. And then the only problem after that is logistics and I guess liability.
Yeah. Okay. So I
Well,
will contact the River restaurant in Illinois and try to get their list of people. And then
okay.
I'll try to figure out how to get a hold of other musicians that want to just get their music out there. I'm trying to think of how I would do that, but I'll figure it out. And then I'll ask
Well,
Woodrow about the space over here. Do you want to do it? If we do it, would you want to do it in this space back here, or would you want to have a different location?
well, I was hoping Brooke would join today. Um, Maybe I didn't share the tourism link clearly enough. I guess I'll go into the various Facebook groups and be a bit more aggressive next time. But um, so I'm open to anything. I'm kind of worried. I guess there's some concerns. I guess if you don't have it on Georgia Street, if people pass down by 79, are they going to miss it?
Yeah.
But I can't confirm or deny that unless you put giant Momo Fest signs at the intersections and say, hey, here's a location. How are they going to miss it if it's right there, but by the bridge? So
Right.
there's that. But I'm not really, I mean, I can't make that decision, especially if it's concerned citizens. The only thing I could do is talk to the city council and get a quorum and say, hey, we would like to give this much funding to them because it is a tourist thing, right? It very
Mhm.
much benefits tourism. It's also celebrating a very unique thing to the town because if you do your research and you go on Google, Momo is definitely a thing that is not really that used to be very, very popular back in the day, before our
Mhm.
time. And there's people across the country that have actually acknowledged this thing. And there was even like a list that said that the 50 or something spiritual animals of each state, and Momo was listed as one of those. I thought, well, if Momo is reaching this level of prominence where people are literally doing like artistic depictions of him, then I
Oh
think we
yeah.
should capitalize on that for sure. And, obviously there's been an independent film and stuff like that. It's like, no, that's fantastic. So, um, yeah, I think that's a great idea. I am going to reach out to, it's called I don't know if they're available yet, but I'll try to reach out to it's called the St. Louis Burning Man chapter. So St. Louis has its own Burning Man. So I'll reach out to them and see maybe they could come up here, maybe they can get exposure and see what we can figure out.
Okay. And I'll try to get in contact with the Ohio Bigfoot Festival and see what they do and see how they make it um like what they do, because I mean millions of or like thousands of people go there every single year. So I'll see if I can talk to them, get some ideas.
Okay. I also want to throw out something too while you're here, since you're, relatively new to tourism. Never let the size of a town deter you from how much potential it has. And this is not a lecture. I'm just kind of riffing off the cuff here. But I've noticed through time and time again, especially like before our time or my time at least, and like looking at other small towns. So there's definitely a lot of small towns in the Midwest that have populations less than ours that somehow manage to not only become very prosperous, but they have very successful turnouts for their festivals. So like I know Herman, Missouri, their population is smaller than ours. They're like a German town, but they have wineries and I think they have like an Oktoberfest and people just pile in from all over for that kind of thing. And so I think if there's the right enthusiasm and passion and we like commit to this kind of thing and we just, we're aggressive with it, I think we can turn something out relatively quick because
Oh yeah.
um, I don't know if you were here for this or not. So we had the float circus, the floatsome come down here, and I talked to the gentleman who ran the Ramshackle Circus or whatever. I talked to him a couple of times. Well, I was getting really antsy because he told me to wait on promoting the event. Well, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he changed his mind on some of the advertising strategies he had. And I was like, give me a flyer or something. So he gave me an approved flyer, and I went to all these like towns and just drove to each one and promoted the heck out of it. And I was not a part of tourism, so I wasn't subject to any, archaic laws or whatever. Well, sure enough, he was coming down to Mississippi, and because of like, you know, posting, but word of mouth really helps. Hannibal was very congested, but when they came down here, it flooded, Louisiana with lots of people to the riverfront. It's like now that's powerful when you can
Yeah.
get that together for an event. And nobody said anything. Nobody went out of control or anything like that. Um, but no, yeah, do research on that. I'm gonna try to reach out to some event organizers as well. Do you like want to? Do we want to make like a routine where we kind of like say a week from today, I'll give you a progress report because that will hold us accountable.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right,
Yep.
so a week from today, we'll do a progress report.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right. Well, do you have any further questions?
I don't think so. I'll just shoot you an email with some ideas that I have, and then I'll get on trying to find some music. And I seen a comment down here I don't know how to look at them, but they said something about music. I didn't catch it though. So whoever that was.
Oh, okay. That's the city administrator.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, McDangers. That sounds terrific, Nick. Sorry, I didn't see your chat log. Yeah, that's perfect.
Oh.
All right, cool. Let's make a plan. We're working on that right now. Just give me kind of an idea of what Woodrow thinks, and then I think I'll just call a meeting and have Brooke come in. That way we can sustain momentum and enthusiasm. I'll give Brooke a call and see where she's at, and then I'll get a hold of you and the other ones, and then we'll figure something out a week from now. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. This meeting is adjourned.
All right. Bye.
Bye.